Welcome to Breaking Free Podcast. I'm Quintilla,
And I'm John.
and we are your co-hosts for this lovely adventure of understanding who you are and freeing yourself. So, on today's episode, we are talking about identity and determination, hence unshakable.
So, the word identity, it can mean a lot of things. It can mean who you are, what you are, or how you even the way you are. In your humble opinion, what would you think it means to have an identity of yourself?
Mm, how I view myself, basically. Because even though, we're always talking about how other people see us, I think your identity is pretty much how you view yourself. To me, I think I'm goofy. I know I'm corny. I'm intelligent, but I also like to make sure everybody around me has a good time. So my identity comes from the things that I've experienced in life, and to make sure that everybody else around me has that wonderful time that I'm always looking forward to. So I would say it's definitely the pieces that I put together, not what anybody else thinks or sees of me. What about you?
My personality is kind of all over the place. I'm a stern person, but I like to joke. I take things serious, but at the same time, I don't like to work myself to the bone for the cause of the seriousness. I'm adaptable. I take what I got and try to make the best of it. And if it's already great, then I'll try to make it better. That's just me in a nutshell.
So what do you think identity does for us as individuals trying to pretty much mesh with each other when you become one? Like, how do you think your identity, my identity, comes together to make our identity?
Because I think having that identity of yourself means you're not trying to be somebody else or be like somebody else. Because you can't become one out of two if that two is only one. Because you can't have two people trying to coexist and become something if both people think they are the same person. There's nothing to become. You are already you. And if you don't like what that is, then it might make you question yourself and wonder if your identity is really what you want. If you see somebody doing and acting the same way as you and you don't necessarily like it, then you might start to question who you even are.
So how did you figure out who you were?
When I realized that I could have a lot more fun and genuinely enjoy life if I'm doing it for me and not somebody else. A long time in my life, I was a people pleaser kind of person. Yeah, I was mischievous. I had my ulterior motives, just like most people will say, but only few will admit. But in totality, I guess, at the end of the day, I just realized that I can't really be me if I'm not doing it for me.
I feel that. I would definitely agree with that. But I think my identity didn't start until late 20s. Like after I realized, okay, I'm literally doing this for everybody else and they really don't care. They don't care if I'm good, if I'm healthy or whatever. So then I realized, you just gotta be you. Be who you love to see. Dress how you love to feel. And if people don't like it, then they can kick rocks off and toe shoes at this point, because I'm not here to please you. You're not living my life. You're not paying my bills. I wish you would, but you're not paying my bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not telling me where I'm going in life. So, in the end, it's literally all about me. In the end, it's literally like me building myself up, because people always assume that when you're quiet and to yourself, you have low self-esteem. But I would personally say, it wasn't really that I had low self-esteem. It was more so low confidence, because I loved me. I was like, oh, girl, you look good every day. But then, you get out and about in the world and everybody, puts or project the label of you not loving yourself, you not caring about yourself just because you don't dress like they think you should dress, or you don't act in a way that they think you should act. So I would definitely say, embracing my identity did not come until late 20s.
Speaking of that word you said, being quiet. For me, my quiet was my confidence, because when I got to a certain age, I realized I don't have to say nothing to nobody. I don't got to do nothing for nobody. I'm content with just being me and being to myself, because y'all aren't the reason why I'm going to be happy. It's going to be me. Y'all aren't the reason I'm going to prosper and do what I have to do to get forward in life. It's going to be me. So at the end of the day, whether I'm talking to one person, 1 million people, and not a single soul at all, I'm going to do it for me. And I guess me being quiet was starting my confidence. People was like, "What's wrong with you?" Nothing at all. You all right? Oh yeah, I'm good. What's wrong? What happened? Who did this? Who did that? Nobody did it, so I'm good. I'm just happy being me, for me.
I would definitely say I think one thing that we always forget, especially like people in church or whatever, everybody who ever had a story literally was not the same. Number one. Number two, it was always those that people would count out that would have the biggest glow up. Like I know nobody's perfect. We get that. But then it's the one that is always counted out. For example, like with David, always counted out, but yet he was the one that's like Goliath. He was the one that went down in history of being the person that could take down a giant with just fast move songs. Like, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's literally, it's okay if I'm quiet. It's okay if I'm me and in my little shell or whatever. I know that I might should go out and mingle here and there. But it's not that I don't want to be around people. It's just, I love my peace and my tranquility. Like, this is just who I am. When I isolate myself, it's not because, like, oh, I'm depressed or I don't want to be bothered. No, my isolation just comes as this is my safe place to regenerate and refuel off of what I've done. And in connection to determination, I think I take my isolation as my vehicle, as if you will, to determination. Because when I'm isolated, I'm able to think clearly with no outside opinions. When I'm isolated, I'm able to put things in pieces since I'm such an overthinker, like make my little jigsaw puzzle of life. And then like, okay, this is what I gotta do to go here, and I gotta do that to go here. And now I'm able to be determined to go to my next step. Now, don't take me wrong, isolation can be very bad for some people because sometimes you get so caught up in your own world that you refuse to see anybody else, or you may take somebody else offering help as like a way of saying, well, you need me, but not necessarily. So what you think about that?
I think the fact, though, the human desire of being needed is sometimes stronger than wanting your own identity. Because when someone's needed, it will give them a sense of purpose that they might not be familiar with or uncertain of, or even unsure that it should even exist for them because of how they feel about each other. That's not feel like feelings and desires will always trump like logical situations, logical trains of thought, or just being you. Because you can have the perfect little situation to be in. You can be smart, physically gifted, talented in every way, shape, and form. And then you'll have that one person that you don't need in life, but they'll make you feel like you need them. And whether it's in love, friendships, or even family in some of those regards, they'll drain you for everything you have because you'll feel like that you need them. When really they could care less about you, less about what you're going through. Because it's a fact that these same people you will never hear from when you have nothing in the world. But for some reason, when you have everything without them, that's when you feel like you need them.
I definitely get what you're saying. I think for me, it's like, it's really hard to determine when somebody's really genuine. And I think that's because all the life experiences that we have, and once you get to this place in your life where you know who you are and you're sure of who you are, and then somebody's like, well, hey, I'm here for you. And you're just like, okay, but where were you when I really needed somebody? Like, where were you on them nights that I was crying at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and couldn't even utter a word? Like, where were you when I literally did not have two nickels to rub together? So I often think about that. Like, how do I know that you're genuinely here for me? Because is it that you're attaching yourself to this new identity that I have? Like, when I'm sure of who I am? Or is it you attaching yourself to my success because of the determination of pulling myself up by the bootstraps? Because oftentimes I do think a lot of things that we do ourselves, and then when we get to this point, it's like you said, people want to attach and want to be here for you. So it's like very difficult to figure out who's really genuine. So If somebody had that question, like, how do I know who's genuinely here for me? What advice would you give?
That, and this is kind of an older saying, that leeches will only drain you if you got blood. Meaning you only gonna hear from and see certain people, or even know certain people even exist that always wanna pop up as your cousin every time that they need something. They'll only drain you when you have something. When you have nothing, you will never hear from these people. But it's the ones that check on you the most when you are going through the most and have nothing. But yet, sooner or later, when you find out that you have everything and you start talking to these people, you realize they're the ones that really care because they ask you for the most when you have nothing because they care about your mental. And when I say asking for, like asking what do you need, like they're asking for you to be honest with them about where are you at, where do you want to go, and what do you need. As opposed to when you have everything, you don't hear from them because they don't need nothing from you. They're happy you got what they're happy that you have what you have. And then when you realize that and you meet up with these people and you get these people back in your life, you'll see that they're genuinely happy that you succeeded. They didn't want nothing in return. They didn't say, well, I'll do this for you, you did this for me. They care enough for you to say, you know what? Don't worry about it. I got you. And don't worry about a single thing in return.
I think for me, it was more so of, well, how do I know that you really mean it? Because I've tried to reach out to you before, and it was one of those, well, you gotta do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? So me questioning a lot of times, well, who's really genuine for me comes from the fact that I used to hate when somebody tell me that I needed to have accountability partners, or I needed to make sure I had this in my circle or that in my circle. When in actuality, I really just needed to know, how do I even create a circle, or what is considered a circle? Because for me, I have friends, I have sorority sisters, I have everybody like in a different area, the teacher besties, the outside of school besties. Like I have certain people for certain aspects of my life. Not saying that I'm fake or anything, but one person can't fulfill every role. But for me, it always became like, well, where do I start to get these people? Because most people see me and they're like, oh, she don't talk, or she has a stuck up attitude, or whatever. And in actuality, it's never that. It's just I know who I am and I know where I want to go in life. And you kind of don't want the same thing. So either you haven't shown me that you want the same thing. So it's not that I don't want to be friends with you. It's just I'm trying to figure out, well, where do you fit in this plan that I know I have, or the plan that I know God got for me?
You're right. Honestly, I have no comment. I agree with everything you say 100%. Because at the end of the day, what's prevalent will make itself be known. But at the same time, temptation will make you feel like you don't need. That's just all. That's what I get from that. If it's meant for you, you will have it. If it's not meant for you, you don't need it. But it's like what I said in the beginning, those desires are what you need as opposed to what you want. It'll flip flop itself on its head because you'll think what your wants will turn into your needs and your needs will turn into your wants to where you don't know exactly what you truly desire in life. You'll be lost and dependent on anything, anyone, any small positive thing will attach itself to you, whether it's a feeling of people being genuine or even in to go that far, an intoxicated feeling to where you feel like I can be happy if I have this thing or this person, and that's all just a lie.
I will say this thing, that something I had to learn in our almost 6 years of marriage is how to be myself. Because I was myself before we got together. Don't get me wrong, I had a whole identity. But once we got together, I didn't really understand how to divide or slice the version of me being your wife, your best friend, and then me being myself. And I think that's why, like, when we first got together, it was always, babe, let's go do this together. Let's do this. Let's go here together. It was never me being okay with you going out by yourself, or me being okay with me going somewhere without you, because I did not know how to be an individual while also being married. Because a lot of times, once you become married, everybody's like, yeah, this such and such is a wife, or they would assume to always see you two together, and it would seem like real crazy if I showed up somewhere you didn't show up. it was also to me like having to put on this front of without you I'm nothing. Now get it, there are certain aspects of life that I do feel like without my husband, like I just can't do it. I don't want to. I don't want to be there. But at the same time, I did have to learn like I'm still me. At the end of the day, I still have to be me. I still have to do the things that I put myself into, like as far as being that teacher, being that socialite that I decided I wanted to be before I knew who you were. So I found like I had to create this balance. But I will be honest, I struggled to figure out who I was now that I was married, if that makes sense.
Because of what I see it as, the traditional sense at least, marriage is individuals coming together. But then in that same process, some togetherness will make you forget that you're an individual. And you will devote your life and time to the courtship that y'all have, swore to God to in a way, as opposed to it being a partnership to where y'all build off of each other, y'all become stronger mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, every single way you can define. But then at the same time, remembering that I am a person of my own, but I become a better person of who I am and who I will continue to be, rather than I am here for this person, I am with this person, I am because of this person. You're not because of anybody, but you are involved with them, if that makes sense.
It does. And I was like, as you were talking, I was literally thinking, I think that's why, that whole rough patch of marriage, like year one and like between year 2 and 5, most couples, like, you know what, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I honestly think it's because I don't know how to coexist with wifey me and me. Because honestly, you could tell somebody all day, yeah, I know what it's like to be a wife. I grew up with people married. But just because you grew up and you've seen that experience doesn't mean that you understand what it is to be a wife or a husband. Doesn't mean that you understand what it is to be somebody's significant other. Because we often date a lot of times with the mindset of like having a future with somebody, making it last. But in reality, do you even know what it takes to do that? Do you even know what it takes to like merge with somebody pretty much? Because yes, I know I gotta give up some space. Yes, I know I gotta give up some things that I like in order to make this work. But at the end of the day, like when we hit our rough patch, is it really a rough patch because we tired of each other? Or is it a rough patch because we don't know how to be individuals while also being a collective?
I'll say, I'll meet you in the middle. I'll say it's because we're tired of not knowing how to coexist as individuals and as a couple. Because after we met each other, it was a short while, started dating, progressed a bit, got married early and young in a lot of people's eyes. But to me, it was never getting married young. It's finding out that the lifestyle of always looking for the rest of my life isn't for me. Like I knew I was ready at that point in life from what I've done up until that point in life. I knew I was ready to have my own, be my own, and do my own, and working to be in that provider role that I've always seen growing up from my father. And it's just at that point, like after it happened, a lot of people that I would call my friends from back in the day that I don't really talk to anymore, or even from my college days, I just plain don't speak to at all. A lot of them would ask, "Well, why so early? You have your whole life." And I said, "Exactly. Why not settle down early and build up through my entire life? Because I can be that person that comes together with somebody like, let's go down the line 50, and they'll be like, well, how are we supposed to do this? We're both old, older at least. We both have our own, so how are we supposed to merge our entire life into one for this person?" Or even in the 30s to 40s when you're established in your career, you have your own place. You're still moderately young, but then everyone looks at you like, why haven't you gotten married? Why haven't you had kids? Like this, that, and the third. In the stereotypical sense of what you should be doing in that age. And then me and you in our early 20s are like, but you have so much life to live. And it's like, no matter what point you get to, or no matter what point you're at and you want to do it, it's always going to be a thing of how y'all feel about it, because no one's going to be happy and no one's really going to fully accept it, because either it's always going to be a year too old or it's always going to be a year too young. Never we're happy for what you decided to build and break cycles. We're happy you decided to say, you know what, I don't need to be a journeyman when it comes to finding a stable relationship for my entire life. I can take what I have now, build upon it, make it stronger because everything's going to happen over time to where you feel like you were finally ready. It happened in time. But what if you were with somebody and y'all got ready together and then y'all build upon that time? From some people's eyes, that can be wasted years. From some people's eyes, that could be, time you needed to find yourself. So I guess my entire point with saying that is you'll never truly find that perfect spot in life. For me, you have to create it.
I definitely agree with that because as I'm thinking about how we've been talking about identity, determination, just being who you are as an individual, literally life is all about creation. Like whether it's the good times, the bad times, whatever, every point in your life you're creating it. You might be in a really bad spot, but is that bad spot going to be the thing to take you out? Or is that bad spot going to be the thing to push you to your next? You may feel like, okay, I'm by myself in this, I'll never be able to find him or her. But is it that you'll never be able to find them or you just ain't put yourself in the right spot just yet? Because I think for us, we just end up having to be in the same spot at the same time. But it was never a coincidence because we would always pass each other the years before actually saying, hey, my name is, nice to meet you. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly think it was, regardless of where we were in life, our paths would have crossed to the point that we would have been like, hey, I like you, you like me, let's see where this thing go. And I also think that once I was secure in who I was, and when I say secure, I mean like very confident and okay with the fact that, okay, you don't like it, cool, that's fine. Maybe I'm not for you, you know what I'm saying? Being able to say like, maybe I'm not for this person, and being able to still love on me until the right person, hence you, came along is a whole difference. Because I was in a relationship before I met you. I mean, of course, you were in a relationship before you met me. We had previous relationships. But the only thing that stands out between those past relationships and the one that we have is maybe I just want that person's cup of tea. Or they weren't ready for what I was ready for. And we just in two different phases of life. Now that I'm older, I understand that. But I'm telling you, at that point in time, it was very heartbreaking. Like, dang, I just ain't for nobody. Like, what is happening? But no, I was. I was just for the person that was meant for me. Just not willy-nilly everybody. Because my identity is strong. I have a strong personality. I get it. Whatever, I'm in their face. But it takes a lot to, like, get me and deal with me and not know, oh, yeah, she just thinks she know everything, this, that, and the third. No, I'm always teachable, so I always want to know the next thing. And you might call it nosy, but at the same time, I'm going to know what's in front of me. I'm going to know what's happening around me. That's just who I am as a person. You're not about to just catch me off guard. But I think that's what I bring to this. Always knowing stuff. And they're like, babe, what you think about X, Y, and Z? Or always having that moment of, babe, I think we should look at this from a psychological standpoint. Like, this ain't what it really looked like.
Yeah. I think the last thing I have to add would be this. And it's another old saying, but it's an old saying and people of culture will understand. There's somebody out there for everybody. And at the end of the day, you will never find that person if you can't find yourself.
Ooh, yes. I mean, I'm just saying, though, think about it. Like, granted, I did not know who I was fully when we got married, but as we were learning how to be a collective, I think we both became aware of who we were fully. And nobody truly knows who they are. Because even at 40, 50, I'm still seeing the people of older age finding out, okay, well, that explains why I don't like this. That explains why this is this way. Because you're always evolving as a person. You're never supposed to be stagnant. So it's okay if you like going to the club at 25 and not like being at home at 25. It's okay if by the time I'm hitting 30, there's things I just don't do that my friends do that was 30. We're all evolving in our own way because if we were all meant to be the same person, there would never be the term coined of Darwinism. There would never be the fact that, you know, you have to evolve socially. We all can't be on the same path at the exact same time. Because if that was the case, what would be the point of us dating? What would be the point of us marrying? What would be the point of us finding a friend that adds to us? I never want to be around somebody that takes from me and cannot add. I never want to be around somebody that can never be on the same page intellectually. Because what is there for us to talk about? The color blue? Because while you sit here saying that's your favorite color, I'm about to go back and tell you, you know, a lot of people can't afford blue. Or, prime example, one of my students asked me, why are there no flags with the color purple? We all know purple means royalty. And the only reason it means royalty is because back in the days, nobody could afford the dye purple. You had to have a lot of money to have purple dye. So no, we wouldn't just use that for a flag because all countries didn't have the money. So why would I want to be in a relationship or friendship with somebody that we can't be on the same page? And if you don't know something, but you're not okay with me teaching you because you just want to be to yourself, then what is the point? So I don't want to be around people that be like, oh, you just do too much. Well, baby, let me do too much. And you just sit over there. You don't see nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with being you. Because at the end of the day, who are you living for?
Myself.
Whose life do you love?
Oh, I love mine.
And at this point in life, now that you are definitely in the prime of your life, as far as accomplishments, things done and things to come, and things conquered along the way, who are you living your life for at this point?
Well, I'm living for me, but I'm definitely living for our daughters because they're two different individuals with two total different personalities. But I want them to be okay and confident in who they are because you might do something that seems berserk to somebody else. But I want our girls to know, like, it might seem crazy to you, but I'm living my life and I'm loving it. I like being to myself, or I like being that outspoken person. Or, you know, I like dressing this way. And there's nothing wrong with me dressing this way. I don't want our kids to be in this box because I feel like I was put in a box. So I want my kids to explore life to a whole nother level. So I think that's why I say I live myself for me, and I live through like my life the way I do for everybody else to look upon. Like, okay, she fine with who she is. Yeah, I'm gonna dress different. I will throw on a dress and some sneakers any day and be comfortable. Then I might switch it up and wear some jeans with some heels. You never know. It's just on how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Then there are days I might wear some sweatpants and a tank top or some basketball shorts. It's just in me being me because so what? Society says I gotta do this, I gotta do that. We're in this time now where you're not gonna get the job, the position, or the accolades because of how you look. You're gonna get it for the ability to stand strong on who you are, what you believe in, and being able to be that change that they're looking for. They're not looking for the next person with a business attire. I'll tell you that now. They're not. Nobody's looking for that. Oh, okay, you can wear a suit. Well, what can you do within that suit? I mean, be honest. I don't want somebody that's punching numbers and you just punching numbers and you can't really add to this environment. Why you here? Because you can do a job skill? Cool. But every position in life, regardless of what it is so much deeper than your job description. You're always going to do something that's not literally labeled in black and white on your job description, and that will forever make you stand out. I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, I'm a teacher from 7:15 to 3:30, Monday through Friday. But at the end of the day, every school that I've ever worked in knows one thing about me. I'm going to do what I got to do when it comes to these babies. And I think that will forever make me stand out. Because I had teachers that way. I've had teachers that would show up on a Saturday because I was the knucklehead that got in trouble. But they would give up their Saturday to sit with me in detention. But it was those moments of detention, those moments of ISS that have forever changed my life. And I feel like we should always look to do the same thing, especially for the kids or for the person that everybody writes off as bad or can't get along with, or oh, they just got low self-esteem, or they're just always going to be isolated. You can never forget the people that you think are the runts of the family or the runts of the environment. Because those runts, like David, are going to make you proud. They're going to make you realize, like, I was wrong for thinking about them that way, you know?
Mm-hmm. Because after they finish thinking about you that way, they're going to realize one thing. I think it's something you know very well, and it's that when you look in the mirror and when they look at you, they'll see the same thing every time. It's almost like it's tattooed on your head that she survived her.
Yes.
That's right.
You know, I mean, it is interesting, though, that you think about it. Because they always say your biggest enemy or the biggest person that will set you back every single time is yourself. Because you're going to doubt yourself. You're going to be worried about what everybody else thinks and then doubt yourself even more. You're going to hold yourself back because you're like, oh, I'm not ready for that. But I think the best thing I learned is even if you're not ready, still take that leap. Because what's the worst that can happen? No? Oh, okay. Well, you said no this time. What I got to do next time to make it better? That's literally what I hear when I hear no.
Mm.
I'm telling you no, but there's something like, there's something about you, but just not right now. Okay, well, then what? What I got to do? It's never, okay, this is where I'm at. This is done. There's no moving further. There's always hard to go, even if I do got to break that glass ceiling. There's always hard to go, even if I do have to be the one to build that next level onto whatever we're doing. It never should just stop at, okay, no. All right, well then thanks, bye. And go about my business. No, it should never stop. And I think that's where determination comes from. Once you're secure in who you are, even if you're not fully secure though, it always gives you that catapult to the next. Because I think for me, when I started writing, I wasn't really secure in who I was, and I would always ask you like, hey, you think this alright? You think I should do this? You think this look right? But I've learned that regardless of what I do or how I look, I still got you at the end of the day. I still got me. I still got life. I can still live. Okay, somebody didn't like my shirt. Okay, it won't for you to wear anyways. I bought it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's all in, we should throw away that phenomenon or social norm of being secure in ourselves. Because what is it to be secure in yourself? Do you even know how to be secure in yourself? You telling me I'm not secure? How you gonna tell me I'm not secure in myself and you don't even know me? You don't go home with me. You know what I'm saying? You see the outward appearance. How you know I'm not secure? Because I wear baggy clothes? How you know I'm not secure? Because I like to show off my figure? Or is it that you're not secure and you want to put it on me?
I like that. The insecurity of the non-secure is creates that identity crisis in the first place.
Right, because who are we to tell somebody that they're not secure in themselves because they walk around here with purple hair, polka dot shirt, and striped pants? How you know they weren't secure enough? Like, yo, girl, this looks good. Yes, nobody got it like you. About to get all the looks. I'm just saying, think about it. Just because it doesn't look like a social norm doesn't mean they're not secure in themselves. I don't know. I just like the fact that I'm now understanding that my secure, confident identity may not be what you want, but it ain't for you to like and it ain't for you to live. This is my life. And clearly, I'm doing something right if I'm able to look back and see that I've graduated from being the child that nobody thought would make it. If I graduated from being the person that wanted to make sure everybody was okay and people please this and people please that. So I think it's all about when you look back. I know most people like don't look back, but sometimes you gotta look back to realize I'm really doing it. Kudos to me. Because even though right now it seems like a pity moment, or you seem like you're not doing the best, or you're not where you want to be, you definitely not where you used to be. It's okay if you in the house with nowhere to go, but you got milk, water, and bread. That's a lot more than you could say back in the day when you was sleeping on somebody's couch, or you was like jumping from one house to another house, or sleeping in a car. And I think we always forget to be grateful for the little things that we do have. Cause baby, I'm gonna live off of some oatmeal and water if I ain't got nothing else to do, you know. So thank you guys for joining us, and remember to always love on you, in case nobody else does. Your love for yourself means the most. I'm Quintilla.
I'm John.
And this is Breaking Free Podcast.